guys, this is not a tutorial, let me stress that. This is how I built my Rune Priest for my Space Wolves army. I grabbed the librarian and Terminator armor out of the Leviathan box and I chucked him together, and like most Space Marine releases for me, they never feel Space Wolfy, whether it's the ridiculously over wolfy aspect or even the Space Viking. So once he was together, I checked him out and saw what I could remove, what I could add to make him more of a Space Wolf than a Space Marine, I suppose. So I dove into the bits box and grabbed out a few parts. And with a conversion like this, you don't usually need a lot to sell the idea that you want. So of course I grabbed the obligatory wolf pelt, and wolf tails, and wolf paws, and wolf this and everything else. And I just looked over the mini and found where I could add things to sell the idea I was looking for, and even remove. I removed the librarian crest thing off the top because we all know Space Wolves don't use librarians. And yeah, just went around seeing what would work, what wouldn't. And I ended up with something I was pretty happy with, and that's what I went for. And like I've said, this video isn't a tutorial at all. It's just me bumbling through a paint job. And I think that the biggest thing this video could show is don't give up when you think you've made a mistake. Don't have a tantrum and put the miniature on a shelf and never go back to it, or don't strip it. There's always ways to fix what you've done, and stick with the video. You'll see the mistake that I've made, and it was a pretty big one, but all mistakes can be fixed, especially with paint. A coat of paint hides 1,000 sins, they say. So once I had chucked this bloke together and clipped things off, this is what I was left with, and yeah, like I've said, I was happy with it. It was wolfy enough. So to start with, I undercoated him with a rattle can Mechanicus Standard Grey, and then through the airbrush I gave him an all over coat of Agrax Earthshade. I do this with all my Space Wolves. I could just do a normal recess shade, but I like the depth that it gives with the all over coat, and I don't mind going back in and blocking in all the grey. I prefer the Mechanicus Standard Grey to the powdery blue that Games Workshop use for the Space Wolves. I think it just suits them a bit better. Once I've blocked in the Mechanicus Standard Grey, I go back over the mini and do an edge highlight. I think I use Administratum Grey. I don't really have a set formula. It's not really how I paint most of the time. But I do the edge highlight on the grey just so it's easier for my eyes to pick out what's what as I'm working on it. Once that's done, I just start picking out details on the mini. I don't go into any extreme highlights in this stage, but like I paint the parchment for the oath scrolls or whatever they're called, and I go around and paint these metallics, Balthasar gold. It works pretty well for my eye with the grey. I then mix a bit more of the whatever I've used here, I think Carrack stone maybe, with some white or grey just while it's on the wet palette. And I just go around it and pick out details like I said already. Just add colour just so it's easier for your eyes to find your way around. And this is what I'm left with once I've added colour to all the different elements. And from here I see what I want to do. I look at things that I want to change. At this stage, I'm looking at the etching for all those runes and how I'm going to do those. And I decide to make an oil wash out of white and apply that. So I put some white oil paint in a little container and I mix that up with white spirits. Now, if you've never done this before, sometimes oil painting is, or using oils rather, is just like cheating. And you'll see what I mean. So before I use this, I coat the mini in a gloss varnish, Vallejo acrylic spray, and that gives removes the tension on the mini and helps this oil paint flow. And when I apply it, if you've never seen it, you'll see the absolute sorcery that this technique is, as it wicks up through the details on the runes and etchings, whatever they are on the leg. Now, sorry, this is a bit blurry. I'm certainly not a camera expert, but I think it's clear enough to see what I'm talking about. And if you see that, as soon as it hits the mini, it just sucks it up. Then I just do this over the entire mini and fill all those magic lines. And when it's all done, this is where I'm at. So I'm now thinking, how do I make these magic runes look magic? And I was thinking fiery colours, and this is my mistake. I've lost the footage, thankfully. I use contrast paints to fill in the runes and see if I could make it simple, and it just didn't work. So I was pretty disappointed, and this is the mistake I was obviously talking about. But I went over and I used electric blue, because nothing says space mind magic better than electric blue. And I thought about how I was going to fix my mistake on the very prominent area of that front shin guard. And it was a coat of paint. I didn't have a tantrum. I didn't put it on the shelf. I didn't throw it back in the box and leave it. I decided to fix it. Before I painted the leg again, I took time to look at the mini to see what I liked, what I didn't like. There was a lot that I still had to work on, but there were some things on there that I really wanted to change, like those black ribbed tubes that carry all that magic around him. The black just didn't work. It was far too dull. It didn't add any fun at all. I didn't like the purple wax seals on the purity seals. And there was just some spots that looked a bit dull that I wanted to work on, which is fine. That's what it's all about, making things look exactly how you want them to look as best as you can. So that's what I did. I went over the mini and fixed my mistakes. Now, I paint a lot of this out of focus of the camera, which I'm sorry for, but there's shots at the end of it all fixed up. I'm still very new to painting in front of the camera. So I just went about following those first steps after the undercoat, blocking in all the grey again. I go around that front shin and clean it up, block in the grey, add the white, and we're ready to go again. Sorry the shot's a bit blurry, like I said, still getting used to this camera. But the colour I use for the space mind magic in the runes is blue-green by Vallejo in their model colour range. And after that, it's just adding more white at each step and bringing wherever the lines meet, just adding brighter and brighter paint there. So once I've done the blue-green, I'll mix in some Baharoth blue from Citadel, and then more white to that mix, and then just smaller and smaller quantities to really bring that glowy magic feel. So I was really happy now with that leg was fixed up. I really liked the electric blue more than the what I initially pictured with the fiery colours, although I think that could still look pretty cool. I thought this tied in a lot better with my basing scheme, and from here it was just better to fix up the other things I didn't like, repainting the purity seals, going in and painting that tubing. I was really happy fixing the black, turning that yellow. I thought it just made the mini pop a lot more. I painted the black with a beigey colour, not sure what it was, some sort of bony colour, whatever was on the wet palette, and over that, when that was dry, I used Imperial Fish Yellow, the contrast paint, the really bright yellow, and highlighted that, I'm pretty sure, with Ice Yellow from Vallejo. Either that or that bone colour all over again, not really sure. And yeah, when that was done, I was really stoked with how it was looking. So I ended up with a whole heap of useless footage in the end, worse than the blurry stuff, because I just painted off camera, which wasn't helpful at all, which was a bit of a bummer. So I actually ended up with a whole heap of useless footage. Worse than the blurry stuff, I was painting off camera. So I do apologise for that. Now I don't think I'm an amazing painter by any stretch. I'm just making these videos to give back to the community. I love this hobby. I use YouTube a lot, and I'm always on there looking for new takes and new ideas, and just watching how other people go about stuff. And I hope this video is that for someone. I didn't film doing the base because I did it at the other end of my desk because I just zoned out. But it's nothing special. It's just Crackle Earth with some snow on top, and the Crackle Earth painted blue. The same blue as the Mind Magic, because Rune Priest used the power of Fenris, so it fits there. And I really liked the overall feel of the mini, and I was really happy with it. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I'd love it if you subscribed and come back for more as I continue this journey on learning how to film painting. It was fun. Thanks for watching. See you next time.